Man, this episode was crazy. Get it? Because it took place in an insane asylum and they're trying to say Mark is losing his mind. He's crazy. Yeah, whatever. Welcome to my safe haven. Thank you guys so much for clicking on my video and on my channel and joining me for another review here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, hey, how's it going? Thanks for clicking on a video. My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek. I clearly need to get a new shirt because I done washed this a little too many times, but I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk superheroes, I like to talk video games, I like to talk comic books, I like to talk action movies, I like to talk sci-fi, I like to talk fantasy, I like to talk black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you are interested in, if you enjoy my opinion on this video, if you enjoy my personality and everything like that, if you enjoy the representation of having a black gay movie, TV, and comic book reviewer, which is something we don't really have that much, which is why I put myself out on the internet. If all of that you enjoy, if you want to be a member and hit the subscribe button, and become one of my safe Gaveneers here on the channel. Also, I noticed that about 35% of you that watch my videos aren't subscribed. So yeah, hit the subscribe button if you're interested. And maybe if you thought you were subscribed, check the subscribe button and hit it again. Because I've heard a couple times from some people that they're like, oh, I definitely subscribe to your channel, but YouTube unsubscribed me. They definitely do that. They don't want the safe Gaven to be great. So hit the subscribe button. But whether it's your first time or you're a regular here on the channel, you already know the drill. If you're a regular, do me a favor and hit the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm and getting this video and my channel out there so we can continue to grow. I just recently passed 5,000 subscribers. Now I'm already at 5,200. So let's make it to 5,500 and 6,000 and 7,000 and beyond, infinity and beyond. Lightyear does come out this year. So yeah, but anyway, we are here to talk spoilers for episode 4 of Moon Knight. So if you have not seen episode 4 of Moon Knight, you shouldn't be here, but go watch that and then come back here. Watch, like, share, comment, interact on this video for the algorithm. So the episode opens where we see Kanchu is placed on a shelf with a whole bunch of other imprisoned gods. And we don't know who these gods are. Are they all Egyptian gods? Are they gods from other pantheons? And that's the thing about this show, that now that, because I've talked about it before, like a month ago, I've seen the first 4 episodes and I had to wait. Like, I still have to wait until episode 5 before I see a brand new episode. And so, like, I've had a long time to marinate and sit with these episodes, but like, it was one thing watching the first 4 episodes in one sitting on a binge, and that's what kept the excitement going. But at the same time, now that I was able to sit and like wait week to week for these other episodes, it makes me have a different perspective for this show. It's not that I hate it or I think it's boring. I am very interested in it, but I just feel like there's a lot on the table that we're just not really getting answers to. Like I mentioned, who are these other gods? We saw the pantheon of gods meet in the last episode, but like, it would have been more exciting if we see Kanchu's true form. We don't see these other gods' true form. It's just a lot that I'm like, I want them to explain. Who are these gods? Why are they in prison? What's going on? I don't know. But yeah, anyway, he's basically in jail. Also, what are these gods' connection, if there is any, to the sorcerers, like the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, the Ancient One? Do they know these gods I have questions. So then anyway, we jump back to Mark, Steven, and Lila, is that her name? I don't remember. But because Kanchu has been removed from Steven, it causes him to basically go unconscious. I guess his brain has to reboot itself now that he no longer has this god, because Kanchu mentions that he brought Mark back to life. So technically speaking, he should be dead, but whatever. If he dies, there's no show. And she gets her action scene. It was nice. And they decide they're still going to continue to search for Amit. And in a moment that I'm like, all right, Steven, and I get it. Like, Mark feels like somebody else is macking on his wife, even though it's technically the same body, which is something that they deal with a lot in like DID-like shows. Like I mentioned, like one of my favorite shows that was out was United States of Terror, and Tara, the character, makes it a point to talk to her husband to say, you cannot sleep with any of my alters. I would consider that cheating if you sleep with any of my alters. And so it's pretty much the same thing. Like, we see a moment like where Mark manifests and punches Steven in the face because Steven kissed his wife. And you can tell it was kind of awkward. And then it kind of, you feel bad for Layla because technically, like, yeah, it is her husband. At least it's her body. So, like, yeah, you smell like him. You look like him. So I don't necessarily blame her. But, you know, Steven, we don't know if, like, Steven, especially with the whole, like, I'm like, if one alter isn't a virgin, but you are, does that make you a virgin? I don't know how this works. So they end up in a new Tomb Raider style, and there's like a mummy creature, which again, they don't explain where that thing came from, because the only time we've seen like jackals or anything like that, they were summoned by Arthur Harrow. But based on this episode, Arthur Harrow's people were shooting at these creatures. So why would they shoot at these creatures if he summoned them? So maybe he didn't summon them, but they don't really explain it. Where did this creature come from? Is it a protector? Again, more questions than they have answers. But anyway, so it causes Mark, or rather Steven and Layla to be separated. And after fighting the mummy thing again, she ends up having a nice conversation with Arthur Harrow, because Arthur read Mark's scales, or Steven's scales, and what was it, episode 1? So he basically knows all his secrets and sins. And so he basically reveals to her that he knows more than he's telling, and he was actually more involved in the death of her father, who is an archaeologist, which I thought that's where he pretty much probably came up with the Stephen Grant persona. Maybe not. I don't think her father's name was Stephen Grant, because obviously Layla would have figured that out. But just the fact that her father was an archaeologist and Stephen is pretty much an archaeologist, and Mark doesn't know as much as Stephen does, even though technically he knows everything that Stephen did, because it's all one brain. It's also fascinating how the brain works or whatever, and with DI, because even like I mentioned this before, even when you think about it, like when you dream, one part of your brain is creating the dream, but then the other part of your dream is surprised about the dream. You wake up and you're just like, what did I just dream? Even though it's all created in here. So Layla eventually confronts Mark. They have an argument, but they also find Amit's statue. They're confronted. Mark ends up getting shot, and you think he's dead. And this is where we get to the main, I would say, the main bulk of the episode. And this actually kind of reminds me of something that happened in season 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I believe it was episode 16, called Normal Again. I just looked it up. I was off by one number. It was episode 17 of season 6. And that episode basically saw Buffy wake up in an insane asylum after she was injected with some type of venom by a demon. And they were all trying to say, like, Buffy, these 6 years that you imagine you were the Slayer on a Hellmouth, you had a magical sister, you fought gods, you fought vampires, you had a vampire boyfriend. All of that was imagination. It was a figure. You're basically schizophrenic, and we're trying to wake you up into reality. Both her parents were still together. Her mother was still alive. She didn't die in season 5. Like, all of that stuff. It's just like, no, Buffy, you need help. And that's basically what this episode reminded me of. And that's not to say, I don't know if Buffy was the first to do that in like a supernatural show context, but it was at least the first time I've seen it in a supernatural fantasy show, where after 6 seasons, it's just like, well, what you thought you were watching on this show is not actually real. And it could have been an interesting twist if like that was the way they went, like if it was like the season finale, but obviously it was episode 17 of 22 episodes, so I'm like, I knew this wasn't going to stick, but it seemed plausible. And I thought it was just a fun twist of the story, and it's basically doing that with this as well. But where I feel like it was more impactful on Buffy than it is on Moon Knight is it took 6 seasons of getting invested in the vampire world and Buffy and the magic and the vampires and demons and the forces of darkness. And then we saw this, basically them pull the rug out from underneath us, and like, well, it may actually not be real. Buffy might have been hallucinating this entire time. So all that investment to these characters in this world that you've basically grown accustomed to, it might not have been real. It might have all been for nothing. But in this episode of Moon, it's like we just met Mark. We just met Steve. Like, I don't really know this world to be like, oh, it could have been fake. It's like, okay. And this is actually kind of like right now they're doing a storyline very similar to this in Marvel Comics with Moon Knight. But again, Moon Knight has been around since the 80s. So it's a little bit more impactful to be like, oh, maybe he was actually just hallucinating. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, Mark does have a mental illness. So it's not far-fetched to be like, well, you've been hallucinating this whole time. And the thing that I like about it is they're still keeping it within the Marvel universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where we already know Iron Man, Thor, gods, and all that do exist. So they're like, no, there is a Moon Knight that exists. It's just not you. Like, we even see him have a Moon Knight action figure. But of course, eventually Mark wakes up. He's still in the insane asylum, but he's trying to figure out a way out. He comes across a sarcophagus with Steven inside of it. And then once again, they continue to tease that there's a third personality because they see another sarcophagus, which is more than likely the personality of Jake Lockley, but he doesn't go to open it. Instead, he runs, they open the door and they find a hippopotamus woman, an anthropomorphic hippopotamus, like, and then she's like super nice. Hi! And I'm like, what is happening? And that's how the episode ends. And I mean, I'm like, going back to what I was saying, it's like, I still enjoyed the series. I thought this episode was enjoyable, but at the same time, I'm like, this is episode 4. We only have 2 more episodes left. And not only have we not still been introduced to the third personality of Jake, but like, Kanchu is locked up. So more than likely, we're probably not going to get Kanchu again till maybe episode 6 because he's still in stone. So they got to maybe break the stone or whatever. Are they still even in Egypt? He has to find Kanchu, figure out a way to free Kanchu. Like, it's just a lot to go on. And so we're probably not going to see Moon Knight show up again until episode 6. There's still the whole plot line going on with Amit and what's going on with the other gods. Maybe the other gods are working with Arthur Harrow. That's the only explanation of why they were so easily willing to condemn Kanchu over Arthur, especially considering he already has some of the power of Amit. He's already judging people. Like, shouldn't they be able to sense that? And I mean, kind of like what Frankie said when we talked about it on our live episode, which, speaking of, we're probably, now that I just realized, because I was like, oh crap, because I just used my AMC A-list to get tickets for tomorrow, Thursday night, to see The Northman. But then I was like, oh crap, we usually go live on Thursday nights. So I might have to cancel my ticket and maybe see The Northman another day so we can go live on Thursday. I don't know. We'll figure it out because Frankie and Ron might not even be available on Thursday night. So who knows? Maybe we'll figure it out. Hit the bell notification button so when I post that we're going live, you're alerted about it. But going back to what Frankie was saying, it's like, yeah, like, I don't feel the urgency of the stakes of the weight of basically the world. Like, Arthur Harrow's basically trying to judge the entire world and destroy all evil, and there's the gods getting involved, and Mark and Arthur and Kanchu like change the entire skyline or whatever. And it's just like, despite the fact that we're dealing with gods, it still feels like very, 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 very small stakes. And yeah, I don't feel worried for any of these cats. Like, Mark literally got shot. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. Like, how is he even still alive? Like, he looked like he got shot in the heart. And Kanchu was locked up, so it's not like he's protected. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's just a lot. And it's still like a lot of lingering questions. And it's the thing about these Marvel shows, which is just like, which is a problem, which is why, because they only have these 6 episodes and then they end up having to wrap up a lot of stuff within the last 2 episodes or the final episode, and it doesn't feel satisfying. Like I mentioned, we still haven't met the third personality yet, and there's only 2 episodes left. So it's like, we have to meet Jake in next week's episode. Because, like, waiting for the final episode to meet Jake, I still feel like even waiting to episode 5 to meet Jake is too long. And then even just on top of that, we only just met Mark in episode 2. And then even with that, it's mostly been Steven, not even Mark, even though they kind of teased that, especially based on this episode where Mark is the one that woke up in the insane asylum, that Mark is the dominant personality, not Steven. But yeah, like I said, we're getting to know Steven more than we're getting to know Mark. And then also with that, not even just meeting Jake Lockley, but we still have to get into Mark's backstory. What caused this DID? His connection to Layla and the murder of her father and all her, like, her backstory and all that stuff. How he met Kanchu and became the Moon Knight. Like, again, and there's only 2 episodes. But like I said, overall, I'm enjoying the series so far. I enjoyed this episode, but I just feel like, yeah, a lot of it is very uneven because they keep being hampered by these 6 episode constraints. But either way, I'm still excited to check out what happens in episode 5. I want to know who the hippo lady is. And from the acting standpoint, I want to see how different Oscar Isaac portrays Jake Lockley. And I want to see how this season ends. And this show has to connect to Thor, right? Because the whole thing about Thor, the villain is Gore the God Butcher, and we're seeing more introduction to the gods, pantheon, like more so the Egyptian gods in this show. So I feel like it has to connect to Thor, especially when you think about, like, we're getting an introduction to Zeus, and more than likely we're probably going to see Hercules and other gods, because obviously if he's Gore the God Butcher, we have to see more than just Zeus in Thor Love and Thunder. We have to see a whole bunch of other gods. So are we going to see the gods of this show pop up in Thor Love and Thunder? Who knows? There's got to be a connection. But yeah, I still enjoyed the episode. But yeah, I don't even know what I would. I'm not gonna rate it, obviously, because I still haven't gotten the full season, so I don't really rate, just half. But I'm just like, all right, I need more. I need more excitement. Like, I'm intrigued, but I'm not like excited. But anyway, the question is, what did you guys think about this episode of Moon Knight? What episode is your favorite so far? I would say my favorite is probably still episode 3. I was like, yeah, episode 3 is the best one, but it's still not like, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not excited like I was with WandaVision or whatever. It's just like I'm not even staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the new episode of Moon Knight. I'm like, I'll watch it when I watch, especially since I did see the first 4 episodes. But even still, like, I saw the first 3 episodes of WandaVision before they came out, and I was still waking up at 3 o'clock to catch the episode when it played for everybody else. I'm not really doing that for Moon Knight. I'm just like, whatever. But anyway, what did you guys think about the episode? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, if you can, again, please hit that thumbs up button and like this video to really help with the YouTube algorithm. If this is one of your first time checking out one of my videos, please check out the other videos on my channel. And if you like what you see, please subscribe for more. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.